Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today we're going to be looking at a Weatherby Vanguard. Now, this is a pretty common rifle. Just to start off, I will show you guys that obviously there's no cartridge in the gun. I'll also just run the action a couple of times for you, just so you know there's nothing in there. Cool. Pull the trigger. So this is a Weatherby Vanguard. Now, these are a pretty common rifle. In Australia, I believe they're also pretty common in the US, where Weatherby is actually from. Now, this particular Weatherby is actually something a little bit different to what most of you guys would see. So, obviously, most of what we see in Australia is going to be the 308, 243, 223, 6.5 Creedmoor, you know, your standard calibers that most people are going to get these things in. I happen to come from a bit of a Weatherby family. My father actually collects Weatherby Mark 5s and loves big bores. I've got a couple. He's got a lot. He probably has one of the best collections in Australia of Weatherby Mark 5s, if I'm not wrong. And that's everything from, you know, the old stuff made in Germany into, you know, the modern stuff that they make in the US now. Now, what makes this one a little bit different to most of the Weatherby Vanguards that are floating around is, number one, this is one of my hunting rifles, which I really like. Number two, this is in 240 Weatherby Magnum. Now, you're probably wondering what the hell a 240 Weatherby Magnum is, because it is not a popular cartridge. It is not a common cartridge in any sort of sense of the word. Now, I will show you a little bit of what that cartridge looks like and talk a bit about it. First, I'll just go over the basics of the rifle. Now, this gun, from memory, has a 22-inch barrel, maybe a 24? 24. 24-inch barrel, medium profile. It's got a little bit of weight to it. Synthetic stock is good. So it's got floor plate, so just blind internal magazine. And then obviously we've got, with this particular one, I've got a one-piece mount on it. And then these are 25mm rings. It's what came with the gun. I wasn't going to mess around with it too much. It's got a Zero-Tech on top of it. I put Zero-Techs on a lot of my stuff, especially the things that I'm not shooting a ton, that are not my main gun. But I still want them to be serviceable. I think they're a great scope for the money. I know that they're designed in Australia but made elsewhere, but look, at the end of the day, we get really good deals on a lot of these things. I haven't actually had any problems with any of them. I've got quite a few of them. Are they a Meopta or a GPO? No. At least not until you get into the really high-end stuff, which I haven't really played with too much with Zero-Tech, but they're perfectly serviceable for what they are. Now, action on this one. Oops, sorry about that. It's not the camera. So this is a long action. Because of the length of the cartridge, it has to be. This is going to be the same sort of length action as 30-06. So you've got quite a little bit of bolt travel there. Now this thing, that is smooth. It's got a distinct click and then up and down. This thing has been worked and is buttery. The trigger in this thing as well, that is a 2-pound trigger all day long, and it is clean. With this one, you have a 2-position safety. So back, you can still work your bolt. So the only thing that you don't have a 3-position that locks your bolt. If that's important to you, okay. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. You just get used to the gun that you're shooting. Now, the synthetic stock on these is really quite good. It's very stiff. There is no flex. Again, it is not your Savage Axis, Ruger American Gen 1 sort of stock. It is significantly sort of stiffer than that. On the bolt, you do have a little bit of knurling just around the edge of the bolt here. Okay. And this particular one, So to release the bolt, you do have a bolt release button there. So I'll just release that for you guys. So it's a 2-lug bolt, and this particular one has a fluted bolt body as well. Okay. So as when you're doing it on camera, it's hard to make it look good. And I know I'm dry firing these guns. They're my guns. I don't care. I don't think it's going to hurt them in particular. If it does, I got spare firing pins. Like, if I do it a couple of times for a video, okay. Save that. Makes you guys uncomfortable. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Now, so that's the gun. So nice sporter style stock. Has obviously cheek piece in it. Very in line with Weatherby. All steel bottom metal. And then it's got a decent recoil pad on it as well. Now, the cartridge that it's shooting, I may just pop this one down. Alright, let me show you guys. So the cartridge it's shooting is this. So this is a 240 Weatherby Magnum. Now, that 240, I'll give you some comparisons. So that's a 6.5 Grendel, that's a 240. And then I'll also give you this 150 grain 308. Try to get into focus. So they're decently large cartridges, right? Now, the thing with these cartridges, and sorry, these are just some of my hand loads because I'm not buying factory ammo for Weatherby cartridges. Weatherby cartridges in Australia are prohibitively expensive. And I mean, it is some crazy stuff. You're talking, you know, in excess of $200 a box. If you are shooting the really big stuff, that can go up. I remember my father was trying to find some 460 Weatherby Mag, and that stuff was nearly $500 box. You're not buying ammo for that. It's worth more than what the guns are to buy, you know, a decent supply of ammunition. I know you don't shoot them much, but it's just not worth it. You're going to have to hand load, which is one of the reasons why these cartridges are not popular, at least not in Australia. And they're great cartridges, don't get me wrong. So this 240 Weatherby Mag, this particular one is topped with 90 grain Sierra, I think it's a tipped Game King. So the TGK. This is lightning. Like, this stuff is great. I've got loads for these that shoot lights out. Now, the other thing you need to keep in mind is these are a belted Magnum. So these actually have a belt around the back of the case. Very reminiscent of like a 375 H&H or any of those sort of cartridges. It was very much the fashion. Is it needed? No. Especially not with this particular Weatherby Magnum. Now, this Weatherby Magnum is a bit different than most. Weatherby tends to have a couple of cartridge lengths. So they have their sort of 300 Weatherby Mag sort of length, and then the bullet diameters go up and down from there until you hit the really big stuff, which I think it's when you jump to the 378 Weatherby, but I could be mistaken. I generally don't shoot that large. The largest I have in my personal collection is a 340. It might even start there. Now, this Weatherby cartridge is a bit different because it's basically a 30-06 case, neck down to 6mm, and then had a belt added to it. Now, that is it kind of pointless? Yeah. Is it fun? Yeah. These things shoot amazing. I have had amazing success with these things. I have a group right here. So, sighting group. Like, for a hunting load, what more can you ask, right? This isn't a one-off. Like, I know this is just one of the targets that I kept. these are factory seconds bullets as well. So I didn't really expect too much, but with that load, I've had zero problems. Just fun side note, Sierra was actually selling some factory seconds, I guess, through one of our retailers for a while ago for 500 projectiles. It was really, really cheap. And it turned out that the problem that they had is some of them, basically the ballistic tip in them, wasn't secure properly in the projectile. It was probably maybe one in every 20 or so projectiles. So I actually went through and weighed them all individually, tested the ballistic tips. For that sort of fail rate and that price, I just separated those all out separately and kept them in a side bucket and used the rest to reload. Now, I've also reloaded some other stuff that I'm going to be testing out, which may not be ideal. So I've also got these little black beauties, which are an outer edge projectiles ball bearing tip. Now, my twist rate says that these shouldn't stabilize super well, but I have a bunch of them now. So I figured I would test them out. If not, I'll use them in something else. But the next time I go to the range, I'm going to give them a go. I've heard good things about them, and I'll always try and support an Australian-owned business when I can. I think it's a great thing for us to keep an industry here. We often go through times where it's hard to get things, especially in sort of the shooting products market. So the more we make, the better, and especially if it's a high-quality product. So I've had good work with some of their target bullets in other calibers. So I'm going to give these a go. I'm going to test them out on some pigs, hopefully. But those 90 grain Sierra Tip Game Kings, those will be used for deer. And they will absolutely fold them. So I'm pretty sure it's still the fastest factory 6mm caliber that's available. But you are pushing these things sort of lightning fast. And look, it is, do you need that? Is it that much superior to a 243? Look, you're getting a fair bit of speed advantage over a 243. Realistic distances for most people, you're not going to notice. If you're shooting within 200-300 meters, is it going to make any difference? Probably not. I just love Weatherby stuff. My dad has been a big Weatherby collector. I think the cartridges are neat. Recoil is more than a 308, less than a 30-06. To some people, I personally don't really feel recoil that badly. I'm a pretty big guy though. I tend to think that it is probably the same as a 308. Now you are using a lot more powder to get that extra couple hundred feet per second out of the 240 than the 243. That's the trade-off, right? It's not an efficient cartridge. It is the complete opposite. It is literally just cramming powder into a case to get more speed. The big detractor about this one, the gun is great. I've actually got a stock that I ordered from Hatch's Rifle Stocks, which came, it's a beautiful piece of Tasmanian Blackwood that I've been working on. I plan to actually get rid of the synthetic stock and put it in that once I've got that finished off. Sort of lost my train of thought there. Oh, the one detractor from this particular gun is because you're pushing, I don't know what it is with these really fast cartridges, they are just loud. And it's a different sort of loud to, say, a 4570, which is a boom. It is a real snappy loudness, which some people just don't like. I personally, I've got enough hearing damage over the years that I don't notice it too badly when I'm wearing hearing protection. But I've got, a couple of friends, one in particular, that just does not want to shoot this gun. Has no problem with the recoil, but he literally puts double earbuds in. He puts the earbuds in and the ear pro over the top because the snappiness of it really bothers him, particularly in an indoor range. I think it's obviously just because the amount of powder you're throwing downrange, but and burning. I love them. It may not be for you. I don't know if they even import them anymore in a Vanguard in 240 Weatherby Magnum. I know that I had a hard time finding one. I was trying to buy one in 257 Weatherby as well. But nobody seemed to have one or know if they were importing them anymore. So, fun one. Other than that, I will probably close this one out today. Look, if you're looking to get into the market and you're a reloader and you can find one of these things used, give it a go. The 257 in particular is a hell of a hunting cartridge. If you load that thing up with like an AccuBond or a Barnes TTSX and you want to make that a hunting cartridge for pretty much anything other than sort of the super big stuff, it's going to be a laser beam. The 6mm, I would probably confine it to the smaller deer species. Pigs, no worries. If you're going to use it as a varmint cartridge as well, if you're going to be shooting foxes long range or anything like that, hell of a cartridge, really flat shooting. I would say that your effect on target is going to be devastating. Even with deer, I know it's only a 90 grain bullet, but you're dumping a ton of force in there. And I don't know how big of a believer I am in the hydrostatic shock thing. Look, I know it does something. What it does, is it 10%, is it 50%? I don't know. But I will tell you, if that hits an animal in its vital zones, it's not moving very far, even though it's only a 90 grain bullet. It just, everything I've ever shot with the 240, it's lights out. It's like it shocks their nervous system. I don't know. I've shot quite a few things, quite a few calibers. I've noticed that these really hyper speedy ones, when they hit something, it's just it's a different reaction a lot of the time, as long as you've got the right bullet, of course. And I have to also caveat, right bullet, right velocity. If you're driving these things at a faster velocity, you need to make sure that you've got a bullet that's going to hold together. Because otherwise, if you're using a lightly constructed bullet, you're literally going to blow up on the shoulder if you hit it, and that's not what you want to do to anything, right? So we always want to hunt ethically if we can. And I'd also encourage you guys, if you're just shooters and not hunters, and you're interested in it, please go out and try it. It's a great way to get a nice natural food source of organic meat for you and your family. Look, it's not for everybody. Not everybody has the opportunity to do it. I primarily hunt public land, so state forests. So if you see me out there, always say hello. I'm always happy to have a chat. But I would highly recommend trying it. It's a great way to get nutritious food for your family, especially in times where things are getting more and more expensive. Yeah. Anyway, sorry for the rant, but I'll close out today. If you ever see a Weatherby and you're a reloader, feel free to buy one and have some fun, because Bertram's brass does a lot of the brass in Australia as well. So again, another Aussie product that I got to sprue. They do a lot of great stuff, and they have a lot of the Weatherby cartridges available. And it's going to be way cheaper than buying it from Norma or Weatherby themselves. All right, guys, I'll close it out there. Have a good one.